Shalom to my Israelite sisters. This message is for you today. It comes by request. I can't remember the sister's name who requested this, but I'm going to do my best to cover this topic, and I may do it in more than one video. Also to the other sister who requested that I do my tapings outside because you like the trees and the nature, I decided to come out in this 50-degree weather today to do this taping just for you. Because you know this week we got some cold weather coming, so I had to kind of squeeze it in between today and tomorrow. The subject that I'm going to be talking about is, what is our position as the wife in the house? What is our duty? And I'm going to say that it's not an easy question to answer, only because it's been skewed by so many false doctrines as to what the wife's position is in the house. Now, out the gate, I'm going to say that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is the man. So, first of all, we already know that we are to be in subjection to our husbands. We know that. But what are our duties? What do our duties entail? And I would like to cover this from a biblical standpoint. I don't want to use man's version of what that involves, because man's version is what has gotten us into trouble. You have men who are using doctrines that only cater towards the man's desires. And what happens if that man's desire is not in accordance to the will of the Father? Those are the things that we must keep in mind when we're trying to be in subjection to our husband. Is this a righteous man? Okay? In order to understand our duties, we must first understand the word of the Most High. You know, the scripture says, in all thy getting, get understanding. Okay? And it also tells us that we must search the scriptures. And it tells us not to lean to our own understanding as well. Okay, so if we're not to lean to our own understanding, we most certainly are not to lean to any man's understanding either. And what I simply mean is that if someone is not preaching the truth or speaking the truth, then you are not to adhere to that. Okay, you have some brothers out here who would have you to believe that whatever it is a man wants them to do, wants the wife to do, that she must do it. I mean, that means if he wants her to have some type of lesbian relationship with another woman, as long as it pleases his flesh, oh, that's what you better do. Okay, and the reason I brought that up is because a lot of sisters, when I see sisters doing videos on what a woman's job is, they're coming from this fleshly standpoint of, if you don't do for your man what he wants you to do, then another woman will do it. Okay, and they're usually always referring to something sexual. Let me tell you right now, sisters, your duty to your husband, if it's only of a sexual nature, you have failed tremendously in what the Most High wants you to do. We are called to do far more than that. As a matter of fact, you do your husband a disservice if you can only please him sexually. And he does you a disservice if that is all that he wants from you and requires of you. We all have a duty to the Father. Understand that. That comes first. We all have a duty to the Father to live righteously. And if anyone is asking you to step outside of the will of the Father, he is not a righteous man. Okay? For those of you who may be expecting me to come and say, well, make sure you're doing all of your cooking and your cleaning and you're keeping your hair nice and your his clothes pressed and all of this stuff. Yes, that's part of it. But that is not all to it. Okay? Anyone who listens to me will see and understand that I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, because we need the truth in this last and evil day. We need to understand what each and every one of our position in the Father is, okay? And sometimes we get things messed up or confused in our minds when we hear all of these different winds of doctrine that are coming forth. We have all of these different doctrines that tell us to do this or to do that. And we can't explain some things in Scripture because we have our own agenda. Okay, you have brothers with agendas and you have sisters with agendas. Okay, I didn't bring my Bible out here today, so right now I'm just going to talk free. But as I get more into this, I would like to go into scripture with you to show you what some of our ancestors did and how they lived and how they dealt with this particular subject. Because in today's time, like I said, we have so many people who have their version of what a wife is to do. And all we need is the right version of what we are to do, the righteous version of what we are to do. And if we are in the right situation or the right marriage or the right covenant with a man, then he's not going to have a problem with you doing in accordance to the will of the Father. If he's in accordance to the will of the Father, that marriage is going to have a harmony anyway. But if you're not having a harmony, a spiritual harmony, it's always good for the two of you to go back to the drawing board and see where you have failed. Okay? Because in the Most High there is harmony. And if your marriage does not reflect the marriage of our Father with his bride, then you have fallen short of his glory. Okay? We don't want to fall short of the glory of the Father by trying to be men pleasers or women pleasers or people pleasers. We want to please the Father. And anyone who is trying to get you to step out of the Father's will is certainly not on your side. Okay? I would like to bring some truth or shed some light on many of the false things that have been taught as it relates to women and as it relates to men, because we all have a duty. In order for this hierarchy in the home to function properly, everyone has to be in their proper place. Okay? In order for that man to lead his family properly, he's going to have to let Christ be his head. Now, if that man is not allowing Christ to be his head, you're going to see it in his family. I guarantee it. You will see that his life is out of order and his wife is out of order because he is out of order. He is not following the leadership of his head. My battery is going dead, so I'm going to have to cut it short here, but stay tuned for more on the subject of our duty as women. Shalom.